If anyone's from the Mutant Froggo team, just raise your hand and we'll unmute you.
I see Jenny with a hand up here. Let's see.
Hey guys, how's everyone doing?
Hi, Jenny. How's it going?
I'm good. How are you? Will's there as well. You can see him shaking with his hands up.
Oh, yeah. Hi, William. How's it going? So is it just Jenny and... Morning, William. So is it just Jenny and William I need to unmute? You're speaking today for the Mutant Froggo project.
That's correct, yes.
Okay, awesome. Well, we've got another minute. We'll get everyone into the VC and start shortly in a minute. I'll start the record and introduce you both, and we can go into the Mutant Froggo project.
Sounds good.
Okay, if you're ready, I can start the record and introduce you, and we can go straight ahead.
Yep, ready to go.
Sounds good.
Okay. Welcome to the Wellcoin Talk community. I'm Glenn, your host. Today we have joining us Jenny and William from Mutant Froggo project. They'll be speaking about the project today. So before we go into the Mutant Froggo project, can we start with your background and experience? That'd be great.
Yeah. Well, first of all, thank you guys for having us here today. We're happy to be here on our AMA tour in the middle of our fair launch process. So a little bit about myself. I'm the CEO of the Mutant Froggo project. My name is William Droke. I've been in the crypto now for the last little over 2 years. What started as investing, getting into different communities and kind of understanding how crypto worked, quickly turned into a bigger passion of mine and something that I wound up dedicating a lot more time to. As most people, when they get involved in the crypto space, it kind of becomes something that takes over their life and something that they really get involved in, especially when it's a 24-hour type thing, globally spread project. It was something that was new to me and something that I thoroughly enjoyed getting involved in. And with that being said, like I mentioned, I started investing in various different projects, but what that wound up doing was allowing me to get to know different teams and kind of understand how these projects work in the crypto space. And that's what really led me to Telegram and Discord and finding these different communities and understanding how projects really thrive based on these communities. So it started with me working in these minor management roles, whether it be community moderator or just administrator, eventually upscaled into me taking on positions where I was doing lead writings for many projects that were on a foreign nature because I had a lot of English speaking skill sets and I personally enjoy writing. So I was able to do that and work directly under CTOs and CEOs over the last few years. And that gave me a lot of time to build up my connections and analyze the structures that you find within the market and how people react to different trends in the space, and kind of analyze that relationship that I mentioned between team, investor, and community, and how that really is a symbiotic thing that kind of, sorry, my cat's walking all over my computer. Sorry about that. So within my time in this space and building up those connections, ultimately that led to where we are today with the Mutant Froggo project. Over the last year, since the winter months of 2021, we started gathering the personnel for this team in order to put the Mutant Froggo project together, whether it be thematically, conceptually, artistically, developmentally, and all these things that we've been doing over the last year to make sure that we have this project ready to present to the masses. And get people involved and on board with the Mutant Froggo idea. So if you go to our website, you'll see that we have a nice team section laid out at the very bottom of our website, like most crypto projects do. And it's these various members of our team who are constantly working throughout the days to make sure that we have everything done and everything planned and everything properly executed to make sure that we're doing everything along our roadmap and our goalposts for the project. So within every person that you see here, and these kind of higher up roles, we also have members who work directly underneath them and making sure that we get these things done. But we also have a global team of dedicated community administrators who work in our Telegram and Discord channels among various language groups to make sure that we're talking to our community all day and making sure they get all the information they need. So we're very globally spread, and we're very proud to be so as well. That definitely helps, and that definitely is something you always often find in a crypto space. So it can be hard to get together all in one space at a time, just due to these different time zones. But ultimately, it benefits the project because it gives us different outlooks and different availabilities to appeal to all different kind of consumers. So that's a little bit about myself. Like I said, I'm the CEO of the project, so I do a lot of delegating as of late. It's been a fun part of the job. Not being able to kind of push the project in the direction you want to go when you're working underneath people, it can be kind of frustrating because you see people make decisions that aren't necessarily beneficial for the project or the investor, and then you can see them doing it for themselves. So we're really proud to be here today to talk about the Mutant Froggo project and all that it has to offer. So before I keep rambling, let me pass it over to Jenny, and she'll introduce you a little about herself.
Sure. Thanks so much, Will. Hi, guys. I'm Jen. I sit as part of the community management side of Mutant Froggo. Like similar to Will, I've been in the crypto space for just over 2 years. I kind of started off kind of with a similar passion where I was just obsessed with crypto. I think I got tipped off from by a friend about sort of being in crypto and how booming it was and the great returns you can get. And sort of on the back of that, started following top crypto influencers. And that sort of took me down a rabbit hole of looking on Discord, Reddit, Telegram, Twitter, on my sort of search to find the ultimate altcoin to get some stellar returns. And sort of whilst doing that, you find that you're sort of better placed to get the best investment opportunities the closer you get to the project. So I started getting closer and closer to projects, and I started kind of not only just getting closer to them just for the investment purposes, I started joining the team and working in some form, some sort of capacity, starting off from being sort of a mod to doing some community management work to straddling into aspects of marketing and operations. So I'm super excited to be here with Will to present Mutant Froggo with you. Like myself and like Will, the team is super experienced, so we're super excited here to kind of kick things off and present the project.
Thank you very much for the introduction, Jenny and William. So maybe, yeah, if we can start with the Mutant Froggo project for the community investors to give us an introduction, that'd be great.
Yeah, definitely. So in short, the Mutant Froggo project, it's a dual asset project. So in that sense, we're combining token and NFT all built upon the BSC blockchain. And that's all done to make sure that they're put together in one sustainable ecosystem where the utility and demand of both of the assets are ultimately driven by one another. So the initial utility for the NFT comes in the form of our hold to earn earning aspects. So that's based on an auto staking subscription based program. So we'll go into a little bit more into that as we go into the white paper and kind of over the specific rarities and how that all kind of works out mathematically for the holders of the NFTs. And then the token aspect works to fueling the rewards payment as well as the centralized token for our marketplace and our future partnerships with other NFT projects within our marketplace as well. That'll provide beneficial rewards in not just our project, but their project as well. So those are a little bit things about the Mutant Froggo project, but it's not just the NFT project alone. We put a lot of work behind the artistic elements of it, the thematics behind it, the lore, the background. So if you spend any time on our website, you'll be able to immediately see the artwork right there up front, and you scroll through, and the website's been put together brilliantly. We're super proud of our web developmental team and our artist team for what the work that they've done. You can even view our initial comic strip too on our website. So there's a lot that's gone into the Mutant Froggo process in general, but essentially what it is it's an NFT and token project built upon the BSC blockchain. And sorry, my dogs are barking now. It's a busy weekend day at the house and the animals get a little riled up. So we came up with the idea of this project in order to really prove that it's possible to achieve these long-term long-term APYs and NPYs that we're offering throughout the project. A lot of times when you see in the space and you talk about auto staking and rewards and APYs and NPYs, people are often worried about the deflation aspect of the token and constantly having to produce new supplies and something like that. So one thing that we were adamant about working in was making sure that all of the tokens are systematically getting recycled throughout the process of the resubscriptions and the minting in general, as well as your time within the marketplace and interacting with the whole entire ecosystem. So everything's essentially fueled to back itself, and it works in a really nice environment. We spent a good amount of time conceptually developing this over the earlier months of the year, especially as the crypto market was going downhill. We were like, oh, perfect. We've got plenty of time to make sure that we've got this fully worked out in every possible angle. So that's something that we're super proud of. And the reason why we built it upon the BSC blockchains, a lot of people often ask, when you have an NFT project, why not go Solana or Ethereum? And with it being a dual asset project, we really felt that BSC was the best home for this project and for the potential partners that we could bring into our marketplace setting as we continue to roll that out. So that's a little bit about the project in general. I don't know if Jenny wants to add anything to my ramblings.
Yeah, I'm happy to sort of drill down into the NFTs. I know that's a lot of our community are super excited about that. So we have our pre-sale, which is already kicked off, and I suspect that most of them are going to roll over their sort of Froggo tokens into the NFTs. So it might sort of be within people's interest to find out a bit more about these NFTs. So in total, I think Will's just going to flick over to the white paper. White paper is really super comprehensive. So pretty much everything that I'm going to cover, you'll be able to read it in detail in the white paper. But for the purpose of making it nice and short, so you have an understanding. So we are having NFTs, 10,000 of which will be available for minting, though that won't be available initially. They're coming out in 3 batches. So the first batch is the Genesis batch, made up of 1,000 NFTs. That's going to come out pretty much on launch date, so that'll be available for minting. Our second batch, which is our Exodus batch, comes out later this year. We're super excited about those because that's going to be coming out on Binance. So sort of as you would expect, it being on Binance, that's sort of added traffic that's going to come from there. And then our final batch, which is our Leviticus batch, that's going to come out as part of a sort of a build up in our ecosystem. So we're going to have a new aspect to the ecosystem, which is the jump to earn, a feature that we're super excited about. And that we have our NFTs corresponding with that. So kind of focusing on the NFTs that are coming out first, which are the 1,000 NFTs, which is part of our Genesis batch. Will sort of touched upon it already, that these NFTs, you literally you purchase these NFTs, you hold them and you earn a passive income. And these NFTs come in different rarity types, 6 in fact. So there's going to be 6 different rarity types. And depending on which rarity type you get, you'll be able to get or lock in a certain monthly percentage yield. So Will's just showing you the 6 different rarity types there on the screen. And as I mentioned, there's the different rarity types sort of afford you the opportunity to lock in certain monthly percentage yields. We looked quickly at the dashboard and we had a closer look at the NFTs. I just kind of want to flag it to people because we've got a few questions about it, that the mint is randomized. So to mint your NFTs, because it's going to be randomized. The price of the NFTs is 1 BNB in Froggo tokens plus a fee of 0.2 BNB. I think that's probably the reason why people are jumping in now, because they can lock in the lowest possible price for getting these NFTs, because the mint price is the 1 BNB in Froggo tokens as at launch date. Will again touched upon the subscription feature, and what that is basically each month you have to opt in as the holder of the NFT. You have to opt in to get these monthly percentage yields. You don't just automatically get them. And so I think our rationale when we added this additional feature to the NFTs is to get sort of holders of the NFTs, not just kind of getting their rewards and sort of buggering off, but coming back to the ecosystem, seeing what's happening, trading using our marketplace. And we sort of thought of it as being a sort of an added benefit to provide sort of pricing pressure for the Froggo tokens, because the mint price subscription price is paid in Froggo tokens. And I think I mentioned before, the NFTs come in different rarity types, and you're sort of you have, depending on the rarity type that you lock in with your NFT, you're sort of having access to a certain monthly percentage yield. And so when we came up with the subscription price, we made it scaled. So if the NFT you get doesn't get the highest monthly percentage yield, then you're going to be paying a lower subscription price to renew your monthly percentage yields. And we wanted just to kind of flag, probably a good time to flag at this point, that with the subscription fee that you're paying monthly, it's always going to be significantly less than what you would be getting in for your monthly percentage yield. So there's always that incentive to want to opt in each month, because you will lock in more rewards than you would have to pay out in your subscription fee. That's sort of the main utilities of the NFTs. There is also additional utilities, including the fact that you own the sort of IP and the commercial rights. So when we were sort of showcasing the website and the collection, I think we are sort of really proud of, and we get so much compliments about how sort of detailed and how colorful and how rich the NFTs look. So we're super excited to be able to offer that as a utility. And with the NFTs, there's going to be, as the ecosystem grows, there's opportunities to get sort of future earning potential through holding the NFTs. So that's sort of the meat of what Mutant Froggo is about sort of initially. We do have complementary utilities. So if you do head over to our website, we have the dashboard, and the dashboard is where you can actually go ahead and mint your NFTs. So we're just flicking over it to that there. You can also, once you have your NFTs in your wallet, you'll be able to see what rewards are connected with your NFTs, and you'll be able to claim via the dashboard. We have rolled out the mobile version of the dashboard, currently only available for Android users. And it's the dashboard, the mobile version at least, allows you to kind of view your NFTs and allow you to customize them. We have like a really cool competition which we're planning to sort of link to sort of being able to customize your NFTs. So there's so much sort of going on with that. We also have the marketplace where we're sort of building that out now. Sort of we're in sort of latter stages of getting that ready, and that will be ready sort of within 1 month of sort of minting date. So we're super excited about that. I think sort of Will sort of touched upon sort of wanting to form partnerships and wanting that to not just be a place where you can buy Mutant Froggo NFTs, but also NFTs provided by other sort of projects as well. So we're super excited about that. The jump turn feature, I sort of mentioned that as part of our sort of final batch of NFTs. That's is in sort of conceptual stages, and we're still sort of working on sort of building that out. So I'll just kind of gloss over that really quickly. And then Will sort of pointed out the comic book, which we're super excited about because everyone's sort of geeking out over it. It's super colorful. It's a really creative story. I know Will took the lead in writing the story. But we're also opening up for community members to come in and pitch their ideas. It just provides a sort of a really cool storyline in connection with sort of what we're doing here at Mutant Froggo. Will, I sort of glossed over all the sort of key features. I don't know if you want to go into a bit more detail about any particular feature.
No, yeah, you touched on it beautifully. Since we're mentioning the comic, I would just like to say, no, yeah, we're super excited about that, and to get community feedback and involvement within that process as well. It's just something fun to get the people who are involved on a more regular basis on a chat-wise thing into the project, especially when we want to imbue their NFTs into the storyline as well. So if we can hold contests within our community that get their NFTs ultimately featured in our comic volumes, that's just another little perk that either your NFT has, especially if you're interested in this kind of a little feature that we have ongoing. So we went over all the holder benefits, and we touched on the Mutant mobile app. And like Jenny mentioned, for Android users, if you want to get ahead and download that, we have the APK format officially available for download. You can click the Google Play Store button on our website. So we're working on the final build at the moment to actually send to the app stores. So that way it takes a few weeks for the Play Store, and then a few weeks even longer for the Apple App Store to get officially approved. But we're working on having that rolled out. But we really wanted to make sure that we had the dashboard fully operational and ready for users, especially for minting process, because we didn't want to do the minting via mobile device. That limits a lot of people and would exclude a lot of people from the process. So so the dashboard is where everyone's going to be initially going through the minting process. And then, like Jenny said, as we do our later waves of the Leviticus and the Exodus, there'll be additional modes of minting, whether it be through sought after Binance marketplace relationships or within the mobile app itself, or various other partnerships we have ongoing at the time. But there's a lot of things we're excited for, especially for the updates. But we really wanted to make sure we had the bones for the mobile app out, because it just makes it easier to roll out these updates and integrate the kind of development that we're working on. I know Jenny mentioned our jump to earn features. So we normally don't go too heavy into the jump to earn features, solely because, like Jenny said, that's a very conceptual phase at the moment where we're analyzing a lot of the different kind of movement, fitness, earnings projects within the space. Because if anyone noticed, when the trend came about early in the year or late last year, a lot of these projects came into the space, a lot of force, but they didn't have a lot of actual returns once they came live. It was a lot of people just claiming to have products ready and apps ready for people to hop in and start earning through a movement fitness-based structure. And some are still around and doing okay. And it's those that we've been really kind of watching and seeing their successes, their failures, their community's feedbacks, and all those things, and the best way to kind of integrate that. Because with the thematics that we do have employed of the frog themed NFTs, Jump to Earn is a feature that we do want to look to integrate, but it's something that with time has to be developed properly and sought off in the right direction. So that's why we have our hold to earn as the main initial use case of our utility, and slowly just yeah, I had something else I wanted to say. Oh, and then that's where you come. If you are on our white paper, you'll see this pet fly NFT section. So some people forget to ask about this just because they gloss over it. But the pet fly NFT section is solely what it would be is another collection of NFTs to either pair or fuse with your NFT, your Froggo NFT, which would give you enhanced earnings in the Jump to Earn environment. So this would be a smaller collection released on a scale. When we get to the Jump to Earn, so we plan to release our developmental rollouts. If you look at our roadmap, as we introduce these new project thematics and stuff like that, that's when we like to introduce the NFTs. So we like to match our demand and our growth with further rollouts of the collection. So when we get to the Jump to Earn section of the project, which would be next year, in Q1, Q2, that's when we would also be looking at introducing these pet flies. So it'd be a smaller collection, like I said. So if at that point we had 10,000 Froggo NFTs in circulation, we would want to do about 1 to 10% of pet fly NFTs, just so that way they're more rare, limited, and they have a higher tradability on the secondary market for users. All these little things, and just to give select users that added boost within their earning environment. So Petfly NFTs and Jump to Earn very conceptually still in the formats have to be scaled and progressed as we grow with our roadmap. But we're super excited, as Jenny said, for the Mutant marketplace to be rolled out within that first month after launch, because we want to make sure that people are able to actively buy, sell, and trade their NFTs before we have that first resubscription date. Because when you're selling your NFT, you're also essentially selling the subscription for these monthly earnings. So that's something that we're super eager and working on our end to make sure that we have rolled out for everyone, because that's going to be a big factor of the project as well. So I think that fairly covers the question. I know we probably went a little overboard on your main question.
That's cool, guys. With 1,000 Genesis NFTs, so in the future, the Petfly NFTs are going to add more utility to the Genesis series, but will they include the Exodus NFTs that are launched on the Binance NFT release?
Sorry, what was your question? Will the Genesis batch have more utility than the Exodus batch? Was that your question?
No, with the 1,000 Genesis NFTs, I think it's built in for the future, is it, that they'll get a bonus from the Petfly NFTs, so they'll have more utility in the future. But yeah, or would that include the Exodus NFTs as well that are launching on the Binance NFT release?
Yeah. So with the Exodus batch 2, we won't want to put the whole supply solely through Binance. We'll want to be able to do it through our marketplace and mobile app as well. But it's good to have a set supply over there as well, because it's like Jenny mentioned earlier, it brings a lot of eyes to the project and a lot of attraction to the native token as well. So different things like that, as well as bringing a better light to the partners that we have at that point, or the partners that we're looking to acquire at that point as well.
And so how did you partner with Binance for the NFT release? Did you have to go
on
and present?
So the NFT release via Binance, that's still in partnerships via Talking. So that's why it's slated for the Exodus release as well. It wasn't something that we wanted to overpromise for our initial launch of the first 1,000 collection too. And so Binance team, they're currently very curious about our project and they want to see how we're doing. So they've been watching our fair launch and they're very curious about our marketplace. So they want to make sure that we have our marketplace rolled out. They've already seen our early version of our mobile app and our dashboard. But their team that we've been talking to, they're very curious about the marketplace, because I mean you've had a lot of marketplace projects that come into the space that don't ultimately come into fruition. So we understand any hesitation on their aspect from that before any confirming of deals. So we're just waiting to finalize that too, and that kind of goes with the partners that we have been in talks with NFT base as well. Because as I mentioned, within that marketplace, we want to make sure that we have other NFT projects who want to feel comfortable coming into our communities. And for users to be able to use their Froggo tokens via maybe different staking pools to earn these different rewards to these other projects as well. But these other projects also want to see that we are proving ourselves outside of just our fair launch and raise potential. So we have to make sure that we had this marketplace rolled out to ensure that we can kind of close all these deals and make sure that we have this this utility as most apparent and as abundant as possible for all of our investors. Because we have it all worked out, we just need to make sure that these things are rolled out. So we've done a lot of developmental on our side, and we've shown the people our time, our presence, our faces. We've put a lot of money and passion into this project. So we're just looking forward to continuing to prove ourselves within this space and give people a kind of comfortable, more NFT project in a format that maybe they're not so used to.
Actually, well, and with the 1,000 Genesis NFTs utility attached to them, so I think I didn't miss the screen share for that. How does it work? You're staking the NFT once you bought it, you're locked, unlock staking, and then you've got built into the tokenomics where you'll get so much APR, APY back from in the Mutant Froggo token.
Yeah, so it's a auto staking process, and the rewards for the NFT sales. So we're going to be minting NFTs the same day we launch. So Jenny kind of mentioned earlier how people who are getting into the fair launch process are getting the lowest possible like minting price in the essence, because our minting price is tied to the initial launch price of the token, and the initial launch price of the token is dependent on the final BNB raise. So when you contribute 1 BNB in the fair launch, you get the exact needed amount of tokens for the minting process. And then, whereas if you're buying afterwards, you're going to be likely paying more for these needed amount of tokens due to the positive price fluctuations. So it's more beneficial to get in during the fair launch, definitely, if you want to secure the minting phase. And that's something we're excited to, because it gives us a level of gauging as we're doing this funding raising, because we know that majority of people, when they're contributing, they're using these funds for the NFTs. So all these tokens that get unlocked and released to pre-sale investors are getting immediately used within the ecosystem. But how it works is, what you're doing is it's an auto staking subscription, and the rewards start 2 days after the minting process. So we're going to start unlocking the MPYs for the different rarities on the 20th. And so what that does is, you don't have to physically stake your token anywhere. You solely just go to our dashboard, and you'll actually be earning every second, because the rewards actually come in every time that not every second. It's every time the blocks are approved, are validated on the chain. So it's like every 3 seconds. There's 28,000 blocks a day, I believe. So you're accruing these tokens rapidly. You'll see them. You can just constantly hit refresh in your dashboard, and you'll see the amount go up. But you can claim once an hour. So you can claim 24 times a day if you wanted, or you can let it accrue weekly. Claim at the end of the month, claim at the end of the day, just as long as you're claiming before your next resubscription hits. So it's all filtered autonomously through the contracts, so you don't have to do anything essentially besides view your NFTs here, watch your balance and your earnings go up, claim your tokens, and then utilize them back within the ecosystem, and then resubscribe at the end of your month, or you can sell your NFT, which is essentially selling your subscriptions as well. So then once you go into, for people who kind of like to see numbers, so we have this earnings example that I put into the white paper. I've written this whole white paper too. Like I mentioned earlier, I enjoy writing. So if I have the chance to get into the details and write everything out, I'm happy to do so. So if you're looking for a more mathematical viewpoint of kind of how it all plays out based on your rarity, and the monthly details of how you're earning, I definitely recommend checking that out. But essentially, based on your MPY, you're going to be getting those amounts of tokens, and then you claim them whatever on regular intervals you wish. And then at the end of the month, you'll use X amount of tokens to resubscribe based upon your rarity. And then that'll start the process over again. If you choose not to resubscribe, you have the option of resubscribing at any other point. People don't have to be set on the same days or anything like that. It's just going to start, everyone's on the same days solely because of the minting and the earnings starting on the same type of days. But after some month of time, you'll wind up seeing a discrepancy in the days between people's resubscribing, solely just from either they forgetting to resubscribe immediately or them selling to someone else on the marketplace. Yeah, and we've talked a little bit about the marketplace, but I also want to mention, since that is still in development, we're definitely going to have dedicated Discord community servers for overseeing healthy trading and making sure that nothing malicious is happening between the NFT holders. So we definitely want to provide a safe environment for that as well while we're introducing the marketplace.
And with the subscription at the end of the month, is that based on the price of the Mutant Froggo? When you renew it, how much would it cost compared to
so the subscription is always fixed at the initial minting price. So and then it's scaled based on your rarity. So if you're diamond and you're earning the highest yielding of Froggo tokens, you're going to pay the highest amount of Froggo tokens to do it. So let's say if BNB, one BNB is $280, and that means that every month you're resubscribing $280 worth of Froggo to get your diamond resubscription. But you're earning much more than $280 worth of Froggo. So it's never encroaching upon your profit margin. So it's always beneficial to resubscribe. And then as you go into the rarities that have lower MPYs, you get a higher discount. So what that does is make sure that regardless of what your rarity is, you're never losing when you're resubscribing. So you're always within the profit margins of your subscription.
And that's with the subscription model, it's supporting the floor price as well. But I imagine.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And we're excited to see what the secondhand traders will do too, with this whole subscription aspect too, because that's going to be a free market standpoint there. And if the fluctuations of demand for just one initial NFT were to be so high, that could eventually lead to us setting a higher minting price for the second batch, which ultimately just adds more token driving in the price for the native token once we release that second batch as well, because we wouldn't want to undercut people's current NFTs values. Let's say like if for best case scenario, not best case scenario, but random case scenario, the one random NFT is valued at like 5 BNB on the open market. We wouldn't want to mint the next 4,000 NFTs at 1 BNB because it would just undercut every current holder. So you'd kind of want to match current floor prices as well in that process moving forward. But like I said, the Leviticus launches is a couple months away, and we have to make sure that we have the marketplace rolled out and all these partnerships. And as you introduce more NFTs into the ecosystem, you have to make sure the demand's there, the tokenomics are there to support it. So we're happy with that too. And like I mentioned, all of the minting Froggo tokens and the resubscription Froggo tokens, those are what's going to fuel the rewards. So when you go into the tokenomics, you see we have a total supply of 4 million. And I mentioned earlier, we don't have to combat with any deflationary aspects where we're constantly minting and having to burn supply to keep up with these rewards being paid out. All these rewards are paid out through the minting and subscription processes. So you can go through our token distribution and kind of see how this all lays out. We even have it mapped out to where you can see the circulating supply at any given point based on the unlocks and everything moving forward. So there is additional tokens that can be earned too from getting within the fair launch process. We have these 30% bonuses, 25% bonuses, depending on when you jumped into the project, which gets wind up distributed a month later. So yeah, so anyone who's curious about the tokenomics, definitely dive into our white paper and check those out. If you have further questions, let us know. You can go through as well and find our KYC link, our audit link, BAC stamping, so all these things. Our taxes are set at 1%. We don't have any team supply within our tokenomics, so the 1% of taxes is solely there to just constantly fuel the marketing development side of the project. So that's actually one thing that we're happy to have too, is we have a feature where we're able to lock our taxes indefinitely. So once we are launched and fully live and taxes are set, they'll never be changed or altered. So that's something nice that we have there for users. Yeah.
I mean, that keeps the sort of volume up as well. We're having a low tax buy and sell on the token. But with the NFTs, when you take it out of the pool, is there any tax on that side of the when the NFTs, when you take it out, is there a tax on that? And where would the profit?
What do you mean by take it out of the pool? Do you mean like if you don't resubscribe, or?
You know, like when you go into pools, sometimes there's an exit tax, an entrance tax, that sort of thing. Is it?
Gotcha. Yeah. Since you're not actually physically staking the NFTs in any way or anything like that, there's no fees or anything imbued with that. You solely just have the miner gas fees that you're going to have from claiming your rewards. So there's no taxes involved at all with the NFTs. You may see some kind of marketplace taxes get further in place to maybe help with the tax, or to help with the token overall as we continue, if we see that it needs more support in various areas. But for the most part, yeah, there's no taxes directly on the NFT themselves.
And I'm just wondering, like when it's coming up to the month for the resubscription, there could be huge price sort of fluctuations where it's going up, where everyone's buying to resubscribe, and then opportunities for whales to come in and out. You know, what's built into these sort of smart contracts, where you know price volatility can be going up and down at different times of the month and year.
Yeah, there's always constant fluctuations too, and that's something that we like too with the low taxes too. It promotes kind of a more healthy trading. When you have taxes that are a little bit higher, it can get whales put off. It can get even just day-to-day smaller traders put off. They don't like seeing that they have to lose funds getting in and out of a project, and we completely understand that. And we're not here to hold your funds hostage. That's it for sure. So we're happy to have that just low kind of ideal healthy trading point for people to look at the project and get into.
So yeah, in the first month, people might be selling, so the price is quite low, and then people come in and buy, knowing that the resubscription is coming up, and then the price could spike, and people make sort of massive profits on short plays.
Yeah, crypto can be a degen environment sometimes. People are always looking to manipulate anything in a sense of the matter, but that's all perspective and just kind of situational, dependent on the stance. You never know what these things are going to unfold, what the price points will be in a few weeks, where you're sitting, where the demand has pushed you via the minting process as well. Especially, that's something we're excited for. We know that dependent on our final BNB raise, that's going to let us know the speed in which we're minting out the collection in general, and that's going to give us an idea of the gauge on the price demand and the effects that's moving forward within that first week of launch as well. So we're excited to see all these things play out in real time. It's been an exciting month getting everything ready for this project, whether it be completely on our back end or building up the communities. It's been a good experience. We've been well received in the space so far. We're happy with the community we're establishing.
Great, William. And going into the fair launch, it's doing really great. It's 286 BNB raised, and I think there's some bonuses in there as well. Like for the first 500 BNB, there's a 30% bonus for investors if they get involved.
Yeah, we're super happy. We're about 24 hours. We're a little over 24 hours into our fair launch now. Actually probably like closer to 30 hours. I had to wake up early yesterday because I remember it started early and we had a nice AMA chat. Being in California myself, it always puts me on the wrong spectrum of UTC. That's for sure. But no, it's been awesome. We've been, like I said, well received. We've been having some awesome buys. We had several different 20 BNB buys. We had a 40 BNB buy last night, a 10 BNB buy last night. And like Jenny mentioned earlier, and I touched on as well, this BNB that gets raised at this pre-sale, everyone who's contributing and that's been in the project knows that this fair launch is set up to give people the most Froggo ammunition for the minting process, because the minting process is the same day as launch. So whereas other fair launch projects, people are often worried that there's this overwhelming threat of people getting all their tokens right after fair launch, and if there's nowhere to use these tokens, they could just be dumped. So that's something that we're excited to have for the minting process and to be pushing so hard toward within our chats, is that these investors are investing in the minting process. They're just making sure that they're getting the fixed amount of tokens they need for that process. So like I mentioned before, this helps us gauge that speed too. So first day, already almost 300 BNB within that first 30 hours or so. So we're doing well. And with fair launches, you often see a tendency to kind of get a bigger push towards those final hours. A lot of people like to gauge these things. So we're fairly normal with that and expecting kind of a bigger thing too, especially as we round out our AMA tour. This is I believe our sixth AMA in the last 7 days or so, and we still have 2 more coming up. One of those being in some fairly well-known channels. So we're excited about that, and to continue that kind of community presence as we move forward post-launch as well. So you'll see often we'll be holding a lot of video chats and voice chats within our community as well, just to keep people frequently up to date and feeling comfortable with the environment that's going on too, because we just know that whole personable aspect of a project is something that really helps build and foster the community. So yeah, the fair launch is going really well. Like I mentioned too, you're going to be getting the best price for minting if you get in during the fair launch, solely because our initial launching price is pegged to our minting price is pegged to that initial launch price. So as people who contributed less than 1 BNB in the fair launch realize, oh shoot, I don't have enough tokens to mint this NFT, they're going to be FOMOing and seeing the collection get minted out and then buying Froggo tokens and then causing positive price fluctuations, which just makes it harder and more expensive for them to get the needed amount of tokens. So don't shoot yourself in the foot. Definitely, if this is a project you're interested, if you're a fan of NFTs, a fan of the art, if you're a fan of community involvement, and want to see this thing kick off, definitely hop in when you can, while you can. We have another day and a half left of fair launch time, so we've left ample time for people to get in throughout the weekend and as we head into the week.
Great, William. And you've got Bitmart listing confirmed as well. I'm wondering where to
Yes,
find that.
exactly, and that's something we're super excited to. So you'll see that coming out too. So we're working on finalizing the dates now. I've been leaning in heavy with our CTO to make sure we can get the date confirmed. Well, because we already have it confirmed. Bitmart's already tweeted all that stuff. I want to have the date for people because people love dates, and I know that like I've been in projects where putting out a date can just be the death of you, because if there's like a 1 day delay in a date or like a 5-hour delay in a date, people would just go crazy. So I understand the hesitation sometimes in throwing out dates, but we are working on finalizing that date, and it's definitely going to be very soon after launch. So for anyone who's interested in that aspect too, we do launch on PancakeSwap first, but we do have the Bitmart listing coming soon after. So definitely follow us in our chats, our socials, our communities, our news channels, and you'll be getting all the updates on Bitmart as we head into that.
Okay, awesome, William. And what's the marketing plans going forward, say, for the first quarter? What are you looking to do to promote the Mutant Froggo project?
Yeah. I'll pass it over to Jenny real quick, just because I've been hogging the limelight a little bit. So
nice. I'm happy to kind of talk about marketing. We've done a lot of marketing so far, so we're super excited about our team and the progress they've made so far. So, I mean, Will's just flicked onto the section of the white paper that deals with marketing. And you can see there's so much that we've done already, ranging from doing sort of crypto platform ads to our AMA roadshow, which we're sort of currently on at the moment. Doing press releases, teaming up with influencers across multiple jurisdictions, because we're super keen not to just focus on one, but get sort of a wide remit of people from various jurisdictions. In terms of sort of going forward, we do have sort of, as you were just discussing already, we had the Bitmart listing, which we're super excited to be coming out soon, and dates will be announced. So do definitely follow our socials. If you look at our tokenomics, we do have a portion of our token supply allocated for future SEX listings as well. So that will bring another sort of added traffic. We also touched upon, our second batch of NFTs, which are sort of planned to come out in the second part, the end of this year, actually, which we're having on Binance. So we sort of strategically lined up that partnership, and we're sort of brokering out the deals now. And with that, because, everyone sort of knows about Binance, at least if you've been in the crypto space for sort of a period of time. And so we're excited with the traffic that will sort of bring coming forward. We haven't sort of gone into a lot of detail about our roadmaps and the exact steps we're taking. But what we have done with our marketing team is we've sort of timed the milestones on our roadmap and have sort of different marketing plans sort of lined up with the different milestones. Some of which we're sort of going to announce now. Others we'll sort of leave till later, because it has an added effect if you announce it in real time. If we sort of front run some of the stuff we're doing marketing, then people will sort of lose interest. But if we start sort of putting the information out in a timely manner when we hit these milestones, then that's something we're super excited to be able to share with you in the future. There's also competitions that we've had already in place. We still do have one competition going on, which is our airdrop. So an airdrop is the opportunity for 1,000 lucky winners to share $60,000 worth of Froggo tokens in rewards. That's going on to the 7th of November. And so as you would imagine with that, people are super excited for being able to complete simple tasks with the aim of possibly winning a portion of that rewards. And that's driving a lot of traffic into sort of what we're doing. I think sort of overall, our roadmap is guiding our marketing, and we have a lot. Like if you just use the current marketing as evidence of what our marketing are capable of doing, I think the team have done an amazing job, and can give the community a lot of comfort that marketing is our forte, and that they should sort of just be excited for what's to sort of come with Mutant Froggo. Will, I don't know if you want to add anything in terms of marketing. I was be careful not to sort of reveal anything that hasn't been publicly announced, but I don't know if you want to.
No, you're good. Anything that needs to not be revealed was not revealed, so you're good. And then like Jenny said too, we have this comprehensive kind of look in our white paper too, and this is something that I make sure and I go in at the end of nearly every day and kind of update with our latest rollouts in the news channels as well. So that way it's just a comprehensive list where people can find all of these linked to our replays as well for the AMAs that we've held in various different communities. And something to note too is we also like to market on that kind of global approach, as Jenny mentioned. So we've had Vietnamese community chats, Chinese community chats. Our Chinese community is growing as well, and that's something that we're eager to do too, and do more of as we grow. So if we see higher turnout of different demographics, whether it be these different regional spaces or language spaces, we definitely want to include them and make sure that they're have a higher priority of focus within our chats and our team. So we're excited for the communities that we're developing. We're excited for the marketing that we're doing and continue to do on a day-to-day basis, and for the upscaling that it has throughout our fair launch and launch process, and as we continue throughout our developmental roadmap. So yeah.
What I might want to add as well, I think we've touched on already, is the sort of development of our marketplace and the partnerships in connection with that. So I think sort of Will's already talked about our marketplace in quite a bit of detail, and I sort of glossed over it as well, but I just want to emphasize it here again, that with these partnerships, as you would expect, that brings in their community as well. So that's sort of another growth hack and marketing strategy that we're sort of implementing. So we're super, super excited about that.
Yeah, great, Jenny and William. Let's open it up to community investor questions. Let's see, Syed, you had a question for Jenny or William here at Mutant Froggo. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Glenn. Okay, so NFT artwork is really awesome. So I want to know that who are the artists behind these mutual Froggo NFTs, and is the artwork created by the hand or it is computer generated?
Yeah, so the artwork is done. I mean, it's not like drawn on a piece of paper by the hand. So it's drawn digitally, but it's drawn by hand. And then so it's done by our art team. So if you look on our team, you see Thomas is one of our head art directors, and he works directly with Angelica too, who does a lot of the design, not just for the website elements, but also for the NFT structure. So we spent a lot of time. So I didn't talk a lot about the inspiration for the art. So that's something I normally touch on, but I failed to do so here. So allow me to do that now. So when we were looking for kind of thematics and art stylizings, we really wanted to draw upon stuff that we like, or at least I did. And you might not be able to see from the back of my room, but I've got figurines everywhere. I've got comic books loaded up to wazoo on the bookshelves, art by random artists just plastered on the wall from different cartoons and other pop culture type things. So I'm a big fan of that in general. And one of these types cartoons, comics that I'm a big fan of personally has always been Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So when we were kind of looking for a thematics for the storylines when it comes into like a comic and the lore for the collection and the characters, that's kind of something that we leaned into a little bit there. So we wanted to do something that gave them kind of the superpower mutated kind of theme. So if you go through our comic strip, you'll kind of see those elements come about. But then as we were going through the artistic process as well, between myself with some higher ups and our art directors, we were looking for the best approach. So we went through various different mock-ups of the designs and how we want maybe the base of the creature to work, and various different traits and rarity, or traits for the different rarities and the different Froggo mock-ups. But ultimately, they were just kind of feeling a little like lackluster, like in kind of appearance. They were just a little bit bland. So we're like, all right, we need to lean into a kind of more quirkier side of the art as well. And like I said too, we've been working on this for a long time, so we had a lot of time over this last year to kind of get the art down to something that we feel really happy and confident and comfortable with. So we were looking back to the storyline and realized that we didn't really focus too heavily on the mutant side of the mutated superhero. So we had the mutated aspect of the storyline, but we didn't have that reflecting kind of on the NFTs themselves. So with that, I kind of harkened back to if anyone's ever been a Nickelodeon fan and seen the show All Real Monsters. I was a huge fan of that growing up. That was one of the first times I'd seen a show to where they kind of infused grotesque art forms in a really cool, wacky, fun way. That was really mass adoptable. So I went to our art team and I showed them kind of some examples of that and ways we can maybe incorporate that. And they came back to me with different various examples. And ultimately, we came up with the collection that you wind up seeing today. So that's a little bit of background on the art and kind of what you see in the thematics once you go into the storylines of the project. But it's something we're super proud of to have too, because all of these different Froggo NFTs are very unique in nature. and just very fun and interesting to look at, and gross but also cool. And that's ultimately what we were aiming for, was something that's captivating and intriguing, and appeals not to just us, but will hopefully appeal to people on a mass scale.
Just want to add one tiny thing to that, is that I mentioned it already, but when you do purchase the NFTs, you get the IP and the commercial rights, so you do have the freedom to kind of use the artwork as you please. So I know some people were super excited about that, because we do get complimented a lot about the artwork and the details of the graphics. So I just wanted to add that in as well.
Okay, got it. So you mentioned that the owners will have the commercial rights. So they will also going to have the copyrights as well for these NFTs?
Yeah, so you have the IP rights for the NFTs, but that's dependent on the ownership status of the NFT. So this doesn't give you infinite rights to the imaging licensing. So it's kind of a one-in-one deal. The holder of the NFT ultimately is the IP rights holder. So I've got a little bit more detailed explanation on that to come with our CTO. To where he's going to be writing out a little breakdown on how that kind of happens. And then once that's more fully finalized, so people can read the kind of meat of that, we'll introduce that into our white paper and put it into our command chats, so people can get a quick and easy IP rights answer every time they check that out. So if you have a little bit more questions about that aspect too, feel free to send me a DM and we'll talk to you more about that as well.
Okay, we'll surely send you. Thank you so much for answering. Over to you, Glenn.
Thank you for the questions, Sayed. Let's move on to Aisha. You had a question for Jenny or William. Go ahead.
Yeah, thanks, Glenn. So you have Mutant Frog comic series, which is all done completely in-house by the members of the Mutant Froggo team. I was thinking, are these comics for adult readers only, or it's for all ages? And will comics going to have any age rating?
Yeah, that's a good question. So there's no age restrictions within the storyline so far. If there's ever like an explicit version, I will make sure that there are some trigger warnings or some parental advisory notices on the issue. But I can't imagine that it'll ever come to that. It's a fairly family-friendly story, with the exception of the minor torture that these Froggos went through via the scientist. But I think kids can handle some light torture. That sounded terrible, Jesus Christ. But no. There won't be any very major adult themes that you see within the storyline. It's wholeheartedly a superhero type of family-friendly story that you see. And also, like I mentioned before, this is something that we're excited to have community involvement with. So we're going to want to open up forums to where people can either pitch storylines or possible twists and turns. And then, like I mentioned before, hold these various competitions within our communities so that people can get their NFTs featured within the comic as well. So if we can have this as a serialized basis that people get really into and involved with, and it's just something that our community enjoys and maybe brings in people from other communities, or entertains those community members who have children as well, that's something we're happy to do. It's all fun and something that doesn't take up a lot of our resources and time. It's just something that we're able to do and provide for our community.
Okay, I watched an animated video on your website. So I was wondering, do you have any plan of creating animated series featuring Mutant Froggo characters?
That's quite forward thinking, as ambitious as that is, and as much as I would love that. I'd love to say that we have that in the works. That's not something that we have currently in the works. If we ever gain that kind of household name traction that I would love to see for the project, as we especially continue to put more NFTs into the ecosystem and grow in general, then that would be, of course, that would be awesome. That'd be great to see. But ultimately, there's lots of web series out there that don't ultimately make it or don't do well. And if that's something that we could at one point in the project line incorporate just as like an additional perk, like we do the comic series, like there's no outside deals for a web series tied. It's just something that we're able to create and produce with our own team of voice actors and artists. That would be definitely interesting and something I'd be willing to pursue, but it has to make sure that that would always come after the needs of the project first, from a developmental standpoint, because since that's just such a nice little perk to the project in general.
Yeah, that would be really interesting. Thank you. Thank you for answering.
Thank you for the question. That's a fun one.
Thank you for the question, Aisha. Let's move on to Ennis. You got a question for the Mutant Froggo team, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you so much, Glenn. Okay, I have a question for Mutant Frogo. As you were mentioning that about subscriptions and NFTs, it caught me thinking that on each new purchase of an NFT, will a user need to also subscribe it for earning passive income, or when you mint an NFT, the subscription comes along with it, and the new users won't be needing any subscription, or if you buy from some other user, then you won't be needing any subscription, or it comes along with the NFT mint.
Yeah, so good question. So when you mint the NFT initially, the initial minting process, that covers your first month subscription. So you don't have to worry about paying any additional fees outside of the minting process for that first month. And then if you choose to resubscribe, you then pay the resubscription fee. For those who sell their NFT, whether they sell mid-subscription or post-subscription, that's something we talked about as well, because it'd be really messed up if we had someone who halfway through their subscription, they sell their NFT to someone, and then that user has to then pay on top of the NFT to restart the subscription for the rest of the month. So what we do have planned instead is to make it more so to where if you purchase an NFT from someone who's in the middle of a subscription, you actually finish out their subscription for them. So that way you have the option to, you at least have the ability to earn these select portions of awards before you wind up getting hit with the next subscription charge. So we may alter that based on community feedback if we ultimately see that that doesn't wind up being the most beneficial way for secondhand buyers outside of the minting process. If they feel more comfortable with them just getting the fresh slate right after the purchase, a fresh month afterwards, then that's something we can introduce as well. So we're definitely open to suggestion, and that's something we're going to be analyzing and looking at as we continue moving forward with that whole resubscription process.
Yeah, I think not putting the limits will make people just send their NFT to another wallet and not pay resubscription fee, and it will enable their NFT to earn for free. I think putting a limitation is a great idea. And one more thing, as you mentioned that you guys are noticing current projects and doing research about jump to earn or move to earn aspect of your project. But I want to know that how will you determine whether a person is really jumping, because there are a lot of computer visions or artificial intelligence algorithms working right now that can use people's camera to determine that whether people are jumping right or skipping rope, or whether they are doing jumping correctly,
Exactly.
and how many jumps they have doing. Yeah.
Exactly. So
So any
that's
kind
an
of
important part of the space too. And that's why we've been spending so much time analyzing and viewing these projects to make sure that these things aren't manipulated systematically. Because if ultimately these movement to earn fitnessing projects ultimately aren't able to come to light solely because of these outside factors and these lack of security preventions, that's something that we'd have to realize and then come to the community and see if they'd want a different introduction of utility for the token. But ultimately, we feel that there are modes of protection against these things. So as you look at these different rollouts, whether it be developmentally or technologically based wise, you'll see that there's different there are different ways of submitting kind of fitness routines, whether it be via video format or via smart app tracking or via a smartwatch, which is a different idea in general, because a lot of projects aren't able to get their apps on smartwatch platforms and stuff like that. So that's why I don't lean too heavily into the jump to earn aspects either, and that's why it's never something that I promote heavily either, because I never wanted to be a project where we're like, oh, jump to earn, get into Mutant Froggo, you're gonna be jump to earning tomorrow. We're gonna you jump, you earn. Like I've seen too many projects come into the space over promising in the movement fitness projects and saying that they have it worked out with the security in place, and it's just such an innovative idea and thing that hasn't been perfectly introduced into the crypto and world yet. So that's why I say that it's moved a little bit lower on our roadmap, so that we can continue to analyze these spaces, bring in the right people to make sure that we have the right development done for those either mobile apps or smartwatch apps that we like to introduce with the apps that we currently are building.
Okay, thank you so much for answering my questions. And finally, seeing a project with APY related and having really great features and something unique about APYs, because a lot of projects are doing same kind of things. things, and you guys are doing something different from them. And I'm really inspired by your project, and thank you so much for answering it.
I appreciate you, Venice. If you have any more questions too, feel free to send me a message. We're more than happy to talk to you, my friend.
Okay, thank you for the questions, Venice. Let's move to Western Beast. You had a question for the Mutant Froggo team. Go ahead.
Yeah, thanks, Glenn. Okay, so I have about 3 questions. So depending on the time, I'm going to ask the rest privately in your Telegram group. The first question I actually have is the fact that you made mention during the AMA that you said you can be claiming once an hour, or you can claim based on the period that one can choose to claim. Some very smart, lazy people want to automate the process. Are there countermeasures against this, or would it be okay for you guys to automate that minting process? That
Yeah,
earning
so
process, rather.
we are making sure that people have to interact with it to get their rewards. There's no automatic claiming of your rewards without you interacting within the dashboard. That's a super, like if you're too lazy to log onto a website and hit a button that says claim, what are you doing? Like, there's no real excuse for that. So we're not gonna infantilize the easiness of it for people. So what you do is you can claim every hour if you decide you want to claim on an hourly basis. You can wait at the end of the week. You can wait at the end of the month. Your claiming power is completely up to you on your own time. But we're not going to make that something that just automatically generates within your wallet for you. You have to interact with the system.
And you also need to be
Oh,
careful,
oh.
because if you don't claim, then you end up losing your reward. So you definitely should make it a part of your process of sort of timing when you do claim your rewards, especially if you decide to sell it or you're not renewing your subscription. You will lose the rewards if you don't claim them before your subscription date.
Yep.
Ah, that's cool. Okay, here's my final question. I saw on your roadmap that during the course of time, in not so far future, you'll be releasing 4K NFTs. I wanted saying that not all phones or all devices have the ability to process 4K images properly. And by processing these images properly, I wanted
Let me
saying
stop you
that
there real quick.
they
4K means 4,000 NFTs, not 4K as in quality.
okay, you might really want to go check that out and make some adjustments to that, because I was actually thinking it's actually 4K quality images.
That's funny. I like
Well,
that. I love that misunderstanding. I will edit that in the white paper, but that's hilarious. I love that.
all right, all right. Well, that'll be all from my end. I have one more question, but I'll be asking that in your Telegram group. It's a wonderful project. I enjoyed this AMA session. I really wish you guys the best, and I hope the project stays bullish moonward. Over to you, Glenn.
Thank you
Thank
for
you,
the
Weston.
questions, Weston. And the 4K thing was really funny. And unfortunately we've run out of time, but it's been great speaking to Jenny and William. They've got the project well planned out and the roadmap, Bitmart listing coming shortly after launch, a week or two or whatever. We're not saying a date as the team said. And and you've got the Binance NFTs as well coming in future. So everything's planned out, and you've got the passive income from the 1000 Genesis NFTs. There was one thing actually I forgot to ask about the profits from the Genesis NFTs. What will that be going towards? Will it be like marketing, buyback?
Yeah. So all the Froggo
Political.
accrued, all the Froggo that's accrued and amassed during the minting and the resubscription, that goes directly into the paying out of the roids. But with the minting process, you have that 0.2 BNB fee per NFT. So what that does, that just goes to our marketing as well, our future sex listings, as well as helping to pay for the Bitmart listing that you wind up seeing as well. So all these things are just fueling the market. Like I said, we don't have the token supply where we have delegated to the team, so that solely just helps for that, and that's a one-time fee. No users are ever going to see that BNB fee once they're resubscribing. It's just solely for the minting process. But yeah, that's
Okay,
just to
great,
make sure that we can continue our partnerships.
Awesome. As we always say, Wellcoin talks for research and educational purposes. It's not financial advice, but you can check out the website, the white paper, the official socials. They're in our main chat. That's what we say here usually, to the community investors. Check out our website, white paper. If you like what you see, go into the socials, have a chat. And then we've got the pre-sale link as well in the main chat if you want to get involved, because there is a 30% bonus up to the 500 BNB. We're at 288 now. So they've blew past the soft cap as well, which is great. Doing a great fair launch. And when do you launch? 24 hours after the finish of the fair launch?
Yes, exactly. So our fair launch ends on the 17th, and then we'll launch on the 18th, and we'll have minting of NFTs on the same day as launch. So users who are contributing via the fair launch you contribute at least one BNB during the fair launch, you're going to have the amount of Froggo tokens that you need for the Froggo side of minting. So that's why a lot of users are excited. They're getting in now for that process as well, just so that they don't have to run the risk of paying extra for these tokens after we're fully live on PancakeSwap on the 18th. So yeah, that's going to be coming at you hot. Definitely, we're going to be posting a lot about this as we move forward. We've got some exciting promotions and announcements to come as we get towards the end of our fair launch as well, to kind of boost it up as well and bring in some more eyes and community members, and ultimately bring some more FOMO and price action to our launch moving forward and our minting date. So like I said, it's all happening very quickly now. This last month has been super humbling in terms of response to communities and the AMA sessions we've been to. We've been getting some great questions. And just to mention, if you do go to our white paper and you check out our FAQ section, throughout, whether we get questions in our chat room or during our AMA, I actually like to go through and add them to our FAQ section. So if you scroll through here, there's a lot of questions and a lot of in-depth answers as well. So if you weren't able to ask your question here, or definitely I recommend checking through here, because there's a lot of questions, a lot of answers, some more recurring ones, some more in-depth ones, some easier ones, stuff like that. So check that out. If you don't find your question and answer there, definitely come into our communities. Like I said before, we have that 24/7 global team that's happy to talk to you. They're well versed in every aspect of the project too, so they'll be able to get your questions answered. If not, then they'll reference you to either me or another higher up. But you can always message me directly as well. We're happy to talk to you. I'll pass it over to Jenny real quick. But most of all, thank you guys for having us today. We appreciate being here.
Thanks again, guys. I don't have much else to add. I think it's been nicely covered by Glenn and Will. So I'm just going to say a big, massive thanks, and just flag that we do have the airdrop still going on to the 7th of November. So that's a way to kind of get your hands on some Froggo tokens if you are selected. But a massive thanks for your brilliant questions and your enthusiasm. We're super excited about our launch happening in a couple of days.
Okay, thank you very much, Jenny and William, for coming today. And I think we've got spin the wheel for 2 lucky winners, $50 each as well. If Axe is there for spin the wheel.
Spin the wheel.
Yeah, I got the wheel up here, Glenn. I don't know if you can see it. I'm sharing my screen. It takes a while. Okay, so it's up. All right, I'll shuffle it a bit around and we'll spin it twice. And we'll do 2 winners for $50 each. And guys, as always, we still have the chat locked. So all the official links, everything we've talked about, and if you wanna learn more, everything is in our main chat. I usually just encourage people to go to the main website, look around, see what you like. There's an extensive white paper. There's a lot of information, and yeah, if you're curious about anything, I'm sure there's going to be someone in the community to answer any and all of your questions. And yeah, if you like it, if you're a fan of NFTs, if you like some nice passive gains, then definitely check it out. So this has been actually really cool. So thank you everyone for tuning in.